On today's Infinite Galaxy video, a new update comes out and a new event, Lost Start Cluster, is now available. It'll show up in a few days, hopefully, and it'll be an awesome event. A few other changes happened along the way. We're going to go talk about everything that was changed and about a few things that were not mentioned here. That includes Nebula Vs Nebula, which is coming very, very soon into this game. So sit back, slap a like on the video, and let's go. Hey there, YouTube! Galactic Gecko back at you with another Infinite Galaxy video, and today, well, we have a new update that came out, brought a new event, a little bit of a light update compared to the previous updates we've seen, but there is some hidden things in here that were not mentioned, but some files were added, a little bit of a laying the groundwork for an event coming very, very soon into Infinite Galaxy, but we'll talk about that later on in this video. First and foremost, let's read through the update and see what changed, because there's a few changes that are worth mentioning. First and foremost, an all-new gameplay Lost Star Cluster will be available. For scientists, our scientists discovered an unknown star field, and we are now collecting brave commanders to explore and draw the starfield map. During the event, you can dispatch fleets into the depths of the unknown space, complete exploration of the starfield map, defeat unknown enemies, and get rich rewards. Well, Lost Star Cluster can be a few things. This can be an event that is a PvE event. No, it is very, very vague for the reason of, keeping things interesting. It can be a complete event that is just like the events we're seeing here. They're all about PvE, well, with the exception of Defend the Galaxy, mostly PvE events, but this can also be the signaling beginning of an event known as Nebula Vs Nebula. Nebula Vs Nebula should be a thing coming out very soon, and I'm not so sure whether this is it or not, because, discovering a new cluster, a new starfield is dope, but I don't really think a new map and all that, but I really don't know whether this is what they would call Nebula Vs Nebula. I haven't had the opportunity yet to discuss it with the development team as to see what's going on, but I can tell you this. From the beginning, from the first time we played this game, we knew that Nebula Vs Nebula is the thing that they were already working on and getting ready to start testing to figure out what they want to do. And so I can tell you that Nebula Vs Nebula is so much closer than we think. The Lost Star Cluster can be that. However, it may also not be, but I can definitely tell you that in this update, a little bit of extra sprinkling of infrastructure to get ready for Nebula Vs Nebula happened. And so we are more than likely going to see it coming very, very soon. The way it's going to be laid out and all that, I'll tell you a little bit more of my speculations in the later part of this video, but that's just the first part of this update. You can now use Alliance Teleport Beacon to teleport the spaceport between disconnected Alliance territory. Now, disconnected Alliance territory teleport is a huge strategic move, and I'll tell you why. Even though Alliance teleport beacons are extremely expensive and they're not as easy to come by, you could, in theory, place a situation in which you have, as part of a shell alliance or a secondary alliance or something like that, that will allow you to have an alliance that has parts in every single section of your nebula. So for example, if we took GG4, and well, GG4 is not a good example because they're very well established, but if we took someone like GG5, who are also fairly well established, or GGF, or GG2, and we decided that we're going to drop one Alliance territory in every single part of this nebula, well, now with the Alliance teleport, you can very easily make your way out to whichever area very, very, very fast, and then do the flying inside that zone. So it'll be much quicker for you to get somewhere to the outer rings, somewhere out here where NSQ are, if you have a potential piece of territory somewhere out here where you can teleport, let's say, to this 1081, and then make your way to NSQ's area. And so allowing the Alliance teleport on inactive territories can be actually very overpowered, and you can create a taxi alliance that its job is to allow you to be able to make it across the nebula very quickly with the teleports. I like this. This is cool. Starting on June 28th, the time selection for Arcane Ghost Chip will be increased from 3 to 4. The respective times are 0 UTC, 6 UTC, now 12 UTC, and 18 UTC. So we moved down from 20 UTC to 18 UTC, which is a little bit annoying. We have some folks who are thankfully they'd be happier around the 20 UTC than 18. This is a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing because more flexibility to choose times is good. However, the way this is laid out right now is a little bit NA, Asia, EU, very, very specific like time zones in which those are good times for those specific time zones, but there aren't areas in here where there is a shared time. So 20 UTC, which was 11 or 10 p.m. European time, or even earlier than that would be 10 to 9 European time, is a decent time, which works out well with Eastern time or even West Coast time in the United States. And that allowed NA and EU alliances to have that area in which they can do a 20 UTC, both NA and EU can show up. The same could be said about 20 UTC or 20, or better yet, 6 UTC, which was fantastic for not 20, 0 UTC or 6 UTC, which is fantastic for NA and Asia times. It's a good connection. So I like the fact that there's more options. I don't like that it's not a 20 UTC anymore. And I wasn't even looking, but it is worth paying attention to see. It says from the 28th, which means this time we still have 20 to 22 to 21 UTC. These were the previous times at 4. That's a fantastic time. That is good for NA and EU. Like 12 to 1 is great for, NA and Asia. 12 to 1 is decent for Asia and EU. And 20 UTC is decent for EU and NA. Now, they're kind of like split apart. I don't know how much of a fan of that I am, but more options is, I guess, a good thing. Removed the Rebel citation device from the rewards of Warpath Universe events. They have been changed to crew training courses and core module chips. Okay. Changed the name of flagship data chips to flagship high energy cores and changed the icon. Optimized the icons of titanium, deuterium, nickel steel, plasma, and speed up items. Slightly reduced the difficulty of tactical training base 1 to tactical base 10. Increased the attack, which is pretty much all the tactical training bases. Increased the attack of the War Mania effect from 3% to 5%, which makes a lot of sense. Optimized the recommended power of the campaign to be more accurate now. Awesome. Optimized using the experience of crew and flagship page. And pretty much that's that. So essentially, they made a lot of small optimizations, a new event, and a bunch of different cosmetic changes. Now you can see these are different. You now have the square with the type of fleet flagship that it is. If you go into the flagships, this layout changed as well. Now there is no more modify or all that. For that, you got to go up there. You can see up on the top left, if I click on this, our Hercules could go up. Well, we don't need it right now to go up, but we'll level it up once we have a little bit more titanium. But this is now how it looks. They made a nice change to the way things are looking. We're on the farm account for this specific recording because I needed to give a massive shout out to the boys of GG4 hitting 1 billion power today and being our 5th alliance in this nebula to hit 1 billion power GGS, making it up to the 2 billion power and looking good. Very good in this nebula, enjoying our time and growing as much as we can. And so shout out to the boys in GG4 and especially to Sep and Lip who have been running this alliance while I'm just like a puppet on the alliance leader doing pretty much nothing. These guys are killing it. But anyway, the cosmetic changes are kind of nice. We had this previous change right here with the crew. If we take a quick peek at our depot, you'll see that they optimized these a little bit. I don't see really a change in them too much. Maybe these are not the ones that they're talking about. The speed ups are also a little bit, they look the same, but they're a little crisper, a little cleaner. So I'm definitely okay with that. This update was really light, but that's okay. Nebula versus Nebula is coming. And my speculation about Nebula versus Nebula is that I don't think we're going to be seeing territory in Nebula versus Nebula at all. I think that Nebula versus Nebula will be an event where you can teleport like you do in the Nebula anywhere you want, so long as you explore and get through gates and whatnot. I don't think there's going to be territory for alliances. I do think that there are going to be buildings that you need to control for buffs. And I do think that we are going to be fighting for buildings that will be buff buildings, essentially. I think that what the Nebula versus Nebula will be is kind of like KVK of Lord's Mobile, for example, where all the buildings, there's going to be a set of buildings that are going to give you some very good buffs. And the winners of Nebula versus Nebula will maintain those buffs, will maintain those titles, kind of like a Defend the Galaxy type of thing, where there are specific buildings you got to hold on to. And on top of that, of course, it's going to come in layers, right? So there's the outer ring where there's going to be certain buildings that are important, inner ring, so forth and so on. And the more you get in, the more confrontation there's going to be for that said area. And then once the middle area is occupied, then it'll start unlocking for you to be able to go backwards and grab the initial buildings as well. I think we're going to be seeing a very, very intensively war event. I think that there's too many nebulas and too many people right now that are kind of sick and tired of fighting within themselves, eating each other alive. And with 54 nebulas in the game, there is a lot of space for a lot of new people to get in. And so we're going to have to see how this works out. I am very much looking forward to see how this Nebula versus Nebula will work out. I know there's a lot more details out there. A couple of content creators made a few leak videos and stuff like that. We're going to keep it until we have the exact information so that, we're not trying to leak too much. But anyway, I'm Gecko. I'm out of here. Appreciate this. If you drop the like on this video, hit that subscribe down below, and I'll see you in the next Infinite Galaxy video. Take care. Have a good one. Peace.